everybody. Welcome to NLL Lacrosse Talk on Spanglish World Network, seen on Zingo TV, channel 249 and 250. Please forgive me as I'm battling a bit of laryngitis today, and Frank is off due to a death in the family. So it's me. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, please make sure to rate and leave a comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, also available on all smart TVs 2016 and above. Now on NLL Lacrosse Talk, allow me to introduce my guest this week, the captain of the Albany FireWolves, Colton Watkinson. Colton, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it, man.
It's been a trying week, believe me.
It sounds like it.
Most I've had all week, so I'm actually enthused. So, but bear with me. We'll get through this, and I really appreciate you taking the time to do this.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Sounds like you could use some of the tea I'm drinking right now.
I have been. I've been doing the ginger and garlic and all the other concoctions with a little bit of honey, and it's probably why I have a bit of a voice now. So, working in the cold doesn't help. So that's my daytime.
Well, I'm so glad we're able to chat today. So you're
you and me both. You and me both. It's been a while. It's been a year since we talked last. So, like we talked on the old show, our first question always is, how did you get started in lacrosse? What made you pick up a stick?
Yeah, I think I've said this a few times, just different characters, but my older cousin Kyle played in Oakville, and I think I'm around 4 years younger than him, so used to go to the arena and watch him play for the Oakville Hawks back in the day, and just kind of wanted to be like him when I was younger, so got into the sport and never looked back.
Right. Now you did Burlington, right, with the Chiefs?
Yeah, that's correct.
Let's talk about the program a little bit, the coaches, and some of your teammates, just what formed you and really kept that drive to keep the stick in your hand.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up playing with, like most of us do, a pretty core group of guys. Had some of the dads that had lacrosse experience in coaching, so it was a fairly tight knit crew, kind of moving forward from, I guess, around novice until midget, and then from there, I mean, kind of jumped around the first year, going from Hamilton Junior B, and then got back to Oakville Junior B for the rest of my career. But I'm a pretty competitive guy. I love lacrosse. I love playing the game. So in terms of, I guess, what kept me going, and it's what keeps me going. It's being in the dressing room with the guys. It's the competitiveness. It's the physicality of the game. Can't get enough of it, right?
Right. Now you mentioned Oakville too. You played with the Buzz your Junior B.
That's right.
You were doing okay. Had a little bit of trouble here and there. What really helped you move forward?
Yeah, I mean, I think really the first steps that I took, I guess, really towards singling down my sports preference, because I played a lot growing up, but was when I went to the Hill for my PG year. That's when I kind of stopped playing everything else and fully dove into lacrosse. The coaches over there, Merrick Thompson, Brody Merrill, Patrick Merrill, were fantastic and really helped me refine some of my skills. But even at that point, I don't think that I was even really ready to move on to college lacrosse. So it worked out that I redshirted my first year at Limestone. And I think it was kind of the combination of that PG year and that redshirt year that I was able to refine a lot of skills. I got a lot more proficient at shooting on the run, being able to kind of read field defenses. And then from there was hopefully just a cumulation of the work that I put in over, I guess, the 4 years after that redshirt year at Limestone.
Right. When you got into the Hill, though, you really didn't have a whole lot of field experience, did you? You're primarily a box guy.
Yeah, not really. I would say I had the field experience that a lot of the box guys, well, maybe not anymore, but back in the day, what we had was going out in the fall and in the muck and the cold and playing, I guess, kind of field/box lacrosse. So yeah, it was really my first dive into how NCAA fields played, how Americans play field lacrosse. And it was an eye-opener because you can't get away with the same things. I mean, the stick skills that you can develop in box are fantastic, but I'm not an attackman, so I was never able to show those off. I had to learn, like I said, to shoot on the run and read where slides were coming from and move the ball as fast as I could to the guys that could put it in the back of the net.
It's also an adjustment too, because it feels a whole lot more blueprint of set plays. Box is more of feel and how things are moving and where you see your opening, and everything moves a lot quicker.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I lucked out, especially going to Limestone there, because we did run, I guess we ran plays, but there were more or less formations, and there were concepts within those formations. So we, because of the Canadians that we did have there, we ran a lot of motion offense. So it was a lot of feel out where other players are and cut through and make space. So I think those things came pretty naturally to myself and a lot of the Canadian guys. So we had a coach, JB Clark, and Brendan Storier that were really able to kind of, I don't know, say give us the keys to the kingdom, but they put us in really good positions, and they allowed us to use our improvisation skills. Sorry.
Right.
To run the offense. So it was a lot of fun.
Now, did Brody have a lot of input towards you going to Limestone? What made you choose a D2 school over in South Carolina?
There was a few factors. I'd be lying if I said academics wasn't one of the factors that influenced my decision. At that point, because I had already graduated, I didn't have core courses to go D1. So I had to stick either D2 or D3. And Limestone, right from kind of the initial Reebok Top 100 camp, where I was seen by the Hill, they were pretty adamant that they wanted me to come there. So I was able to improve some of my grades. I was able to get my SATs done, and their support never wavered. And with the championship pedigree, kind of going in there and understanding that they were really good with Canadians, it seemed like a really good fit at the time, and obviously it worked out really well.
Well, yeah, 4 appearances in championships, 3 championships. 2-time All-American, named Division II Midfield of the Year in 2017. Yeah, I'd say it worked out very well. You also had great teammates too: Mike Messenger, Reed Reinhold, Kevin Reisman on draws. I'd say that's a pretty smart team.
Yeah, and those, I mean, I could go on and name a bunch of guys. There's American players there. I mean, there's a Canadian by the name of Vinny Ricci, and he's still a captain of the Adenax Senior A team out west. Kyle Radigan's a fantastic American attackman that I played with. But, I mean, the list goes on and on. So really good supporting cast. And again, supporting cast is not the right word. Really good teammates that I played with when I was there. So it was the culture that we had, and like I said, the talent in the room was fantastic. So it was a fun run.
Right. Now you were playing MSL as well during your time there before you got drafted into the NLL. And to me, I love summer ball. I absolutely love it. I cover it all. I must have covered between Senior B and Senior A 90 games this year. So I had my fill and a half of it, and some great games along too. Some weird ones too, but a lot of great games. But that's a grueling schedule comparative to anything else that you would have been in. Talk about getting in there, and now you're thrust in. First of all, you're playing with older guys, and the speed and the physicality, but also the schedule is all grueling.
Mm-hmm. It was a shock to me, I would say. I mean, we're talking about the schedule first. I was in university. I was coming back. I was landscaping, doing property management during the day, and then having to go and play games at night. So that was the first adjustment. And seeing other grown men show up in their work boots or their suit and tie, right, coming right from work, was a pretty big adjustment for me. And then on the floor, I mean, I was pretty much fresh out of junior B the first year, so the ball was flying around. I don't know if there's a word I can use that would be faster than that, but it was moving quickly. My head was spinning. So, I mean, leaning on some of the veteran guys when I got there. I mean, Derek Sutton's, right? He was, I don't know, 60 years old when I when I first went to play for Brooklyn. But he's always been a really good guy to as a young guy in the locker room to kind of bounce some things off of and really just pay attention to what he's telling you. Same way when I entered the league, he was with New England as well, which was great. But yeah, the speed of the summer game, especially, I mean, if you're going from junior B, it's crazy. If you're going from junior A, it's still such a jump because of the talent that's playing the league. So
Brad MacArthur had a lot of faith in you. Brad MacArthur had a lot of faith in you. He drafted you last in the thing there, and you stuck, and you that was the beginning.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, and to be honest, I like to. I mean, I credit a lot of to be in the position that I am now, it took a lot of people to help me refine skills and to get me there. And that's definitely one of those stepping stones was, I mean, being the last pick selected in that draft. And obviously I played against Brad and his Clarington Green Gales every year, it seemed like, and I think they beat us pretty much every time. But someone's always watching, right? That's something that if kids are asking, I mean, someone's always watching. I know it's lacrosse, it's not hockey, but there's always someone in the stands. So it's just really about going out there, playing every game. I don't say like it's going to be your last, but I mean, you want to give 100, 110%, give it everything you have and leave it out there, and you never know where you can end up, right?
Right. And you had some great teams. Keenan always had great teams in Brooklyn. Six Nations was stacked. Peterborough, Oakville was on the rise at that time. Even Brampton had a resurgence at that time with Jeff Teat and Clark Peterson playing for them. So the league was really a star-studded cast. So being thrown into that was just wow. And first your foray to what's awaiting you in the NLL.
It was a lot. It was a lot. And the talent at that time, I would say there was a lot more guys playing Senior A at that period of time. So, I mean, regardless of the team you're playing, it was at any given Sunday type mentality. I think I've lost to Peterborough maybe every year I've played Senior A in the playoffs. So that's still a tough pill to swallow.
That 1 year you should have won. You should have won. I was at all those games. I was at Game 7. You guys should have won. I still, every time I think about that, I just, and I can only imagine being in the dressing room with it. But
you want some plays back here and there, right? But at the end of the day, they were the better team that day, and you want them back because I mean, a Mann Cup's one of those fun things to go and play for. But
they start tomorrow, right? So
that's right. Yeah,
and you guys had another really, really good team this year too. Gavin put together
a little bit of a rebuild. We're trying to get some buy-in from a lot of guys. I mean, myself included. It's tough to jump back into that summer season. So a lot of talent on the roster, and if we can get everyone there to every game and to really be, I guess, committed and like myself included, I wasn't able to play all the games in the regular season. But I think there's a bright future in summer ball in the Whitby, Brooklyn area because of the guys that are coming back.
Right. Well, you get drafted in the NLL. You go 7th overall to New England. If Eduardo's listening, I have a picture. If we could put it up. There it is. Because I was at the draft, and I was the one taking the pictures.
Who gave me that haircut? That's my question.
I have a few pictures of you. I also have pictures of, of course, Josh Byrne went first in that one, and Zed Williams, Austin Shanks, Chase Fraser, and Nick Tchaikovsky, Ryan Lee. That's a hell of a group that you went with. To be drafted 7th overall is pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, that was looking at the names that are above me, behind me, kind of everywhere on that draft sheet is crazy. I mean, I like to think that we had a really strong draft class, and I know there's been some other ones throughout the history of the league, but I like to think ours is up there. There's a lot of guys that are contributing at a high level still in the league. Not that we're even close to being some of the oldest guys, but it's just nice to see a lot of us still kind of kicking around and doing what we can for our teams.
I say you guys are just getting better, man. Take a look at the numbers. You're now wearing a C. Shanksy is doing great. Ryan Lee just signed a huge deal. Chase Fraser, well, he just won 2. Josh Byrne, well, he's just won back-to-back as well. Jake Withers. I'd say you guys are starting to just get into the careers that are making you all Hall of Famers is what's happening.
Hopefully. I mean, and a guy like Nick Tchaikovsky, right? He went in the 2nd round of that draft, but he's making Team Canada. He's a warrior. He's got a nose for the ball, and I mean, if people were looking and he was maybe playing defense transition at that time, I think he would have went a lot higher than he did. So, I mean, we're thankful. I'm thankful as a New England / Albany guy that we ended up lucking out with him in the draft.
Yes, exactly. Now, Clarkie was building something big in New England at that time. What was told to you when he first called you to say you were going to be drafted?
I don't think it was, if I remember correctly, it wasn't Clarkie.
It was a trade from Georgia to New England, right?
Yeah, so Rich Lisk Rich Lisk would have called me when I made the team, right? And then when I would have gotten drafted, I think it was. I remember the draft process and the interview.
Mhm.
And I remember that going really well. That was with obviously Clarkey and the whole coaching staff. And then Rich Lisk was in there at the time when he was
Right.
our GM in New England. And then just, I guess, hearing my name called, there wasn't a lot of conversations. It was more about just enjoying the moment at that point in time. The conversation started coming a little bit later once obviously I made that team. And then there were certain roles and expectations that I kind of needed to adapt to and be able to perform. I mean, you're going in, they use a high draft pick on you. You want to be able to contribute right away. And I made my rookie mistakes, but picking up things from guys like Brett Manny, Andrew Suter, and guys that were kicking around the league and the team at that time were able to kind of really help me get established and be able to kind of contribute at what I thought was at least a reasonable high level my first year. And
Definitely.
like you said, you're always going to learn new things. You're always going to continue to improve. So at this point in time, I mean, I think your brain starts working a little bit more than your legs have to, which is nice once you get over 30. But I mean, when I first came into the league, it was I was chasing loose balls everywhere. You're trying to be a pest. You're trying to get up and down the floor, right? So it's kind of bringing all that to the table is what was expected of me. So those conversations are, I mean, they're always ongoing. They're still ongoing to this day, right?
Now, my favorite question to ask is, when you went into your first training camp, was it what you expected?
Yeah, it was. And I mean, it was surreal because even the type of person I am, even though you're a high draft pick, you don't go in assuming you're making any team. And going from, again, senior or junior B to senior A and then to an NLL training camp, you're in awe, or I was in awe still of the talent.
Sure.
And there's not a lot that separates people at this stage of their career and at this level. So it's about those little fine details. So when I did end up getting that call, I don't want to say shocked, but I was definitely super appreciative. I was happy because again, you don't go into that thinking you're going to make the team, especially with the names and the guys you've kind of seen growing up at those camps as well.
Definitely. Now, again, like I say, Clark was building something special, and I would say in 2020, that was yours. Again, that was in your hands, and COVID took it away from you guys. You guys were just an incredible team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take anything away from other teams. It's one of those things, right? There's probably a handful of teams that year that can be saying the same thing because the margin for error, right? Like I'm saying, isn't that big when it comes to the NLL. It's an any given Sunday type of league, and but yeah, I feel like that was one that slipped away from us a little bit because of the interrupted season. But again, we would have been in the mix. We would have been in the playoffs. But who knows? There could have been a lot of other people there as well. So I'm sure there's a few teams that are saying that. But I can definitely say I wish we could have finished that one off.
Mm-hmm. After COVID, you lose some of the core, and you start to kind of rebuild. But you had a good nucleus there. But you started adding pieces again to the puzzle, and you move. You move from New England and you move over to Albany. Now, basically, you're into a brand new slate because Albany was there 20, 25 years ago. But basically, it's a clean slate. What was it like? What was it told to you when they first said, "Oh, we're out of New England, we're over to Albany"?
There wasn't a lot of messaging. I think that the main points that were kind of presented to us was that it was going to be a really good opportunity because we were going to be in more of an established city, have kind of the surrounding suburbs, have more of a market to play in and not be kind of casino based as more of an attraction. So that was something that was really exciting. The ownership group, obviously some of them stayed the same. We had a couple new owners come in. And that was exciting as well. And because we were told, and it's the truth, that I mean, Oliver Marty is super enthusiastic about the sport, about the team, about lacrosse in general, right? So having someone like that jump on was a good opportunity for us as an organization to really take that next level. Because like you said, the last kick at the can we had, it got interrupted, and then COVID hit. We started losing a couple guys in free agency. We brought some guys back. So it seemed like it was a really good time for us to, I don't want to say like hit the reset button because it wasn't. That's not what our intentions were, but it was really a good opportunity for us to start to build something. And that's coming from me. Kind of everything else that I just said was what was communicated to us in terms of great ownership coming in and great opportunity in the city. But from my perspective, that's kind of what I took it as, is we're really going to be able to build something. Because at this point I was an established player. I'm not coming in as a rookie somewhere. Things have already kind of been preset. There's routines done where we do this on game day, then we go and do this. This is kind of, so it's been great being able to find some of those spots around Albany that the guys can go to and really develop our own kind of game day and practice routines in our own city. We have a great practice facility now with turf floor. I want to say it's one of the better ones in the league. So it's been nothing but the best moving to Albany. It's been great. One of my biggest, I would say, drawbacks from New England was the fact we weren't in a city. So I really like that. Although the New England fans were fantastic, we have such a great core group of fans now, and it continues to build every year. So in terms of kind of what I first took away from it, I think that we're slowly achieving that goal and creating something in Albany that's going to, fingers crossed, stand for quite a while.
Well, yeah, you mirrored what everybody else said, because I've had Marty on the show, I've had Clarkey on the show, I've had Rich Lisk on the show, and they all were talking about the enthusiasm of going in there and really getting it moving. 2 years ago, the team was decimated with injuries. It was also half full, half empty, because it was a chance to audition other players to see if they could come in and stand. And you guys became a very tough team to play. Couple of bounces one way or the other, and your record probably could have been, 8 wins, 9 wins, as opposed to 3. But it is what it is. You come back, and everybody's healthy last year, and we talked before the season last year, and I know there was a lot of enthusiasm. You had a lot of enthusiasm going in there, and well, first off, they put the C on you, and what an honor that is.
Yeah, taking over, especially from a guy like Brett Manny. I say it, I'll say it once, I'll say it again. I can't say enough good words about him. He's a fantastic leader. If I could have him back in the locker room wearing that C, I'd give it up in a second. So he's a great man, great leader, great player. It sucked losing him. So being given that honor kind of after he was wearing it was pretty special for me.
Yeah, I was pretty honored to be there in attendance when you guys played the Rock and they retired his jersey and had a big presentation, and loved it. I also found that I don't think anybody does it justice for the fan base. They're very knowledgeable. They're not huge, but they're getting bigger. But they're very loud. God, it was loud in there.
Yeah, and like you said, right? We're not filling the stadium up like Buffalo does or Colorado or some of those kind of established programs. But if you look at year 1, year 2, year 3, going into year 4, right? We continue to build that fan base, and it keeps getting more and more packed, and it keeps getting louder and louder as the years progress. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it looks like this year. I know 2 years ago, it was a tough season for everyone, fans included, right? We didn't win a game at home. It was a road win we had that year. It was tough for the fans for that reason. It was tough on the guys in that locker room. So being able to rebound that season with what we just did last year, to give that to the fans, to see their growth even throughout last year, now that we were being a little bit more successful, there's a little bit more talk in the city. Really looking forward to seeing what this year looks like, and hopefully just continuing to compound and build off that.
I'm back. Sorry again. This internet thing is doing some weird stuff here. It's bizarre. Just one of those days, I guess. Now, you started out like a house on fire last year. You guys, I think, went 6-0, and then a little bit of trouble hit, and that's when character is shown, is when things aren't going perfect. And you guys came out with flying colors, because coming down the stretch and through the playoffs, boy, oh boy, did you guys look tough. And man, playing the Bandits in the finals, that was some of my favorite lacrosse to watch last year, because without coming away with a W, boy, oh boy, you guys should have. Because wow, did you guys ever play your hearts out? Just shows the character of that team.
Yeah, I don't think a team coached by Glenn Clark is going to be short on character. To be completely honest, if that's the case, I don't think a lot of us would be in the locker room
Yeah, yeah,
the next year or the games to come. So,
sure.
I mean, kudos to him. He always has us ready to play, and kudos to the guys because, like you said, that was a tough stretch going on the 6-game run at the start of the year, and then going on that skid kind of in the middle was, you start to think the guys who were on the team last year can go, oh, we're kind of reverting back to where we were before. But just as you said, the character and tenacity that the group plays with and the guys play with is I think, I mean, at least 30% of what the game is. If you can deliver that game in and game out, you're going to have a pretty good opportunity because with the skill levels being so close, like I've been saying, it's the smallest things that separate teams and separate wins and losses. So kudos to the guys, kudos to coaches for kind of having us ready to play. And I'd like to agree with you. I mean, Buffalo is a fantastic team. Obviously, they won for a reason. But I've played Buffalo a lot in the playoffs, whether it be New England or Albany, and it seems like we always come up short. And at some point during the games, you can kind of feel that momentum swing. Whereas this past year in that series, I felt like we were, even we were down a couple goals, we were still in that game. And knowing them. So that's what I like to see. I mean, as one of the leaders on the team, it's something that you can't yell and scream at guys. They just have to be able to contribute and have that mentality themselves. So it makes my job a lot easier.
Yeah, and you have some fantastic players. Joe Nardella, Ty Kurtz, Travis Longboat, Sam Firth, John Wagner, Alex Simmons. What a rookie year that was.
Yeah. I mean, Simmer is fantastic player, and I mean, you just mentioned. I mean, we can keep going. The list goes on and on, right? But,
on and on, yeah.
With Simmons, Kurtz, and Longboat up there on the right side. I mean, that's a great lineup. We got Dyson Williams coming in this year.
Didn't even talk about Marshall Palace, who's a human highlight reel.
That's what I was going to say. We got Marshall, we got Ethan Walker, we got Firthy. I mean, the list goes on and on. And then looking at defense. We got rookies that stepped in last year that filled in minutes that were contributing all year long, like a Zach Young. We have more rookies coming in this year, like a Will Johansson, who was out last year with his knee injury, but he was rehabbing. He was in market all year, so I mean, it's an exciting time to be a FireWolves fan, and I like to think that we haven't done too much in free agency right now, but we're re-signing all of our guys and without bringing any free agents in. I mean, we're adding 2 substantial players to our roster, which is great to see.
Definitely. Now, divisions are gone. We were talking about this last year on speculating on how it would go. How did it go? Because, the East guys have to do a whole lot more traveling than they ever did before. And the West guys are just sitting there going, we do this all the time. And I know for me traveling to San Diego and things like that, just to cover games, man, that's a grind. Just that alone is a grind.
It wasn't terrible. We didn't have a tough schedule. We had Calgary and Saskatchewan and Panther City this past year. So those are kind of like Midwest, I guess. We didn't do the San Diego into the playoffs, which that was a grind. Going to San Diego, flying out the next day, and then playing the day after. That was intense. We'll see. We'll see what this year looks like. We had Vegas, I guess, the first game of the season. So that was an easy travel trip. We stayed over as a team and did some bonding early on in the year, which was fantastic. So we'll see what this year shakes out to be. I know I'm sure we'll have Vancouver on there and possibly San Diego. So those are a little bit longer. But all in all, I think it was great for the league because you're able to really play everyone. And typically the West has been a little bit of a weaker division. So at this point now we just have the strongest teams going into the playoffs. And I say that now, but I know the West has been loading up over free agency and seems to be just getting stronger and stronger. So we'll see if that remains the same. But I think that if that's the case, and if maybe the unified standings and the no longer having the East and West divisions, maybe that's something to do with it. So if anything, I think it's made the game stronger.
Lord help us if we get a San Diego Vancouver final and we're all going to be up till 3 o'clock in the morning trying to watch it, right?
I'll be one of those people voting for hopefully like a noon game or something like that because I hate to miss out because I don't know if I'm staying up till 3-4 to watch those.
Yeah, especially if it goes overtime or something crazy like that.
That's it. Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about the State of the Union while I got you here for a few more minutes. And we got so many players, and these camps now have usually 30, 35 players in them. And I would say that 90% are bona fide NLL players. I
Yeah,
know we
would
I know we just lost Panther City,
agree.
but should we be looking at more expansion in different markets?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100%. I agree with you. I think that, 80, 90% of the guys at camp, 95% sometimes, can be on an NLL roster and should be on an NLL roster. The issue with expansion is, as we've kind of seen with Panther City, is, and again, I'm not even on these conversations. It's just one man speaking. But I think we got to do a really good job of putting them in locations that are going to be kind of lacrosse centric and have the ability to continue to grow. I'd love for us to bring 4 more teams into the league right now. But I'm sure there's some reasons at the league office why we're not doing that, right? Because it's all about sustainable growth. You don't want to explode and then have to revert back to the amount of teams we have now, right? In terms of the talent level, 100%. I think that we could field another 2, 3, 4 teams, but it's just about putting them in the right spots with the right ownership groups. And I know it takes a lot that goes into that. So I know the NLLPA is working with the league, and the league's working with its partners to make sure that they're doing the best job they can to grow the game. And ultimately, I put my trust in them. They've done a good job since I've been in the league. It's seemingly continued to grow, and I know trying to be the next major league, it's going to take a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of push from guys like myself, guys that are staying in market doing grassroots stuff, guys like yourself. So it's going to take all of us to continue to promote this game and really make it a premier sport in North America. And I think that just give it the time that it deserves. And if we build organically and do it the right way, it'll be here to stay.
Right. And the importance of the ALL and back with the PBLA, hopefully it comes back in, but to keep these sticks in their hands in the winter, so that when injuries happen, other things happen, that you guys are able to draw upon guys who are game ready.
Yeah, and that's a major thing, and the commitment to do that as well, because guys that are on the practice rosters, they're not making a ton of money. This is them going out and doing it for the love of the game and staying ready because they want that opportunity. So the guys that are doing that and they're able to come out, they're able to practice with their teams, and then on the weekends or during the weeks pick up their sticks and get into ALL games. I think that's the best way. Is just being ready, because as you mentioned it, 2 years ago we were calling up a lot of our guys that were on our practice roster, and if they weren't staying ready, they would have been exposed. They would have been I don't want to say hung out to dry, because we don't do that to our teammates, but they wouldn't have been ready. They wouldn't have been ready to step in, especially mid-season. That's when everyone's kind of hitting their strides. So kudos to those leagues for continuing to operate and continuing to develop guys and keep them ready for the NLL games that ultimately people are going to get called up to during the season. It's a violent sport. People are going to get injured. There's always opportunities.
Well, the ALL's put around 30 guys in the league already, East and West, and it's always on the upswing. I'm the media guy for them, so I love seeing games there too, because they're hungry. Every game they're hungry. It's like watching NCAA football, or every play there's something going on. So having those guys and that influx of youth, that kind of pushes you guys too, right?
Definitely. And the league just keeps getting younger and younger. When I came in, there was a lot of guys that, at least on my team, that were over 30 and 35 kind of years of age, whereas now it's Nardell and I that are old guys in the team, and we got a lot of young 20-year-olds and some mid-20s. But yeah, it's weird looking down the ladder.
Definitely. Listen, I want to thank you taking time out of your schedule and everything else. I wish you the best. I expect a really great year. None of those sophomore jinxes and things like that, and finals hangovers and all the rest of that nonsense that we keep hearing about. But I expect all kinds of great stuff right off the hop from you guys. I think you have a great core. You have great staff. And with you as leadership, I think this team is a hit for sure.
Appreciate it, Gary. It's honestly, it's not me as the leader. It's a whole group of us, and the guys make it easy. Like I've been saying, a lot of character in our room. So appreciate it, and looking forward to this upcoming year. I've been texting some of the guys, telling them I can't wait to get back out there.
Absolutely. I want to thank Colton for being with us. Remember, this show can also be heard on Spanglish World Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all the news and programming. Spanglish Sports World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, live it. Until next week, guys, hopefully I have more of a voice. We'll see you at 4 p.m. next Thursday. Have a great week.